guest and also our speaker for today, Mr. Antoine Austin, who I'm sure will be delivering important information on this most important topic. Now, turning the program back over to Rotarian Wayne.
Good. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for that, President Mike. And now we go straight into our invocation to have this meeting blessed and the favor of God on us as we go through. And coming to do that would be none other than Rotarian Samita.
Thank you. Father God, thank you for today, for your mercy and for your grace. Thank you for giving us the strength to serve. God grant us the wisdom, the will, and the way to emulate service above self, that we may in our thoughts and in our deeds live Rotary. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Samita. And now coming now to do our loyal toast to the Queen and to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, none other than our Rotarian, Anita. My Rotarian, Anita, are you there?
I am here. Sorry, I had myself muted.
Okay, thank
Good
you.
afternoon. Raise your glasses and we'll do our loyal toast to the Queen and to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Queen, Commonwealth of
Queen
Bahamas.
and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Hi, and good day, good afternoon once again, as we welcome all of you here to our meeting. Thank you so much for all of you on the call thus far, and we know that many more will be joining us. And we want to say a welcome and a happy Tuesday to you, smack dab right in the middle of our week. Boy, these weeks are going fast, eh? I'm quite sure everyone on the call would agree with me that these weeks are flying. I mean, they're just flying off the charts. And so you really have to be deliberate and you have to be intentional if you really want to accomplish anything in this season as we move forward. Because before you know it, we'll be at year's end and you wouldn't have accomplished much if you mind the way things are going these days. And so, as usual, to lighten up the moment and the brightening moment, I do some research and try to find some, some little lighter moments. And one of the lighter moments, it's a joke, So this lady, she went into a boss, she went into a boss because she was really struggling financially, and she told the boss, straight up, say, boss, look here, I have 3 companies that are after me, and I need a raise if you want me to stay in my job. And her and the boss back and forward, back and forward. After a few minutes, the boss gave up, and the boss said, okay, I'll give you a 5% increase in your salary. And so she agreed. Before leaving the office, the boss stopped and asked her, by the way, tell me, who are those 3 companies that are trying to get you to leave? She smiled and she responded to the boss, the gas, the electric, and the cable company. All the companies. I think we need to go tell our boss, those 3 companies trying to get us to leave. We need a raise. Okay, there's another one that came across, in the House of Commons in England. The House of Commons in England, they have some very heated debates going on at that house. And heated debate years gone by between Lady Nancy Astor and Sir Vincent Churchill. Sir Vincent Churchill, great towering figure right there in Britain. And if any of you ever went to the House of Commons in Britain, you'll see he has a towering statue that hovers over the House of Commons. So they had Lady Nancy Astor and him had a very heated argument. And the story goes like this. After much debate and heated argument, Lady Astor, she shouted at Sir Vincent Churchill and she told him, if I was your wife, I would put poison in your coffee. and lady, and so Vincent Churchill, you know, never backing down from a good argument or a good fight. He proudly said, you know, Nancy, and if I were your husband, I would drink it gladly. I thought that was so funny, so humorous. One of them old time jokes, you know, but it just goes to show you. So Vincent Churchill never backed down. He always had some smart remark. And of course, we can remember him as the champion that led the British people in the World War to overcome and to, I mean, the World War with Hitler in the World War II, eh? So you want to, anyway, there's some of the good stuff we have moving forward. Okay, so now we're moving forward. Let's get back down to the meat of the business. Do we have any visiting Rotarians with us today on the call? Any visiting Rotarians today on our call so far? Okay, and if there be no visiting Rotarians, do we have any introduction of non-visiting Rotarians or non-Rotarians on the call? Any introduction? Anyone? I've invited anyone? Anyone?
Good
invited?
afternoon. This is Secretary Chantel. I see my prospective member is on again, just waiting
Again?
for her to do a project. We have Shelby. Shelby, say hello.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, Shelby. You know, it's always a pleasure to have you again. Have you again, Shelby.
Thank you.
And we're still waiting for that application.
Yes,
Membership
yes, yes, sir.
application. Thanks so much, Shelby. Appreciate it.
Let me just say something again.
Anyone?
Good
Anyone else?
afternoon. Good afternoon. I have a visitor who is a potential member as well. Deborah Thompson is on with us.
Okay. Thank you so much. Deborah, welcome, Deborah. Welcome, Deborah Thompson. Do you wish to say anything? Do you wish to chime in and just say hi to RCN this afternoon?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for the invite, Anita.
Thank you so much, Deborah. We appreciate you and we look forward to you joining us on many more occasions. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, and I have a visitor, Lisa Hadley, was making sure she was still on. And Rotary is nothing new to her, but she's visiting our dynamic club here. I hope she's intrigued enough. Lisa?
Hi. Good afternoon, all.
Hi, good afternoon, Lisa. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining us. And it's such a pleasure to have you here join us. And we trust and hope that you will enjoy your time here with us.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. You're welcome. Anyone else? Do we have any other?
Good afternoon.
Yes.
I would like to introduce my guest, Jade Hall. He's on the call with us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the invite.
Hi, Jade. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And we trust that this meeting will be a blessing to you. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Seeing you again. Thanks so much. Before we move on, anyone else? Anyone else we need to recognize? Okay, if there be no others, do we have any apologies? Madam Secretary, do we have any apologies for this meeting?
No, I don't see anything right now. And by way of apologies, Rotarian Nadia is saying she's gonna have to take a leave for a few months, so she will not be on today.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Secretary, for that update. And then with that, then let's move on to remarks and announcements by our president. President Mike, turn it over to you.
Hey, good day again. Just a couple of points I want to bring up. Last evening, we had the RCOB president's monthly president's meeting. Coming out of that session, during next May to 2023, District 7020, the Rotaract Annual Conference is scheduled to be held here in Nassau at Margaritaville at the Point. Planning and fundraising to execute this big event has commenced. On a serious note, and more information on this initiative will be coming out shortly. They are looking for over 200 District 7020 Rotaractors to attend. And I'm sure it's going to be a fun and informative filled event. Secondly, the 50-50 match contributions for anybody interested in a Paul Harris Award later on this year. It's still open. And just to brief you on that, for a payment of $500, this will be matched by the district. And that's the enabling criteria of, reaching that $1,000 mark to qualify you for a Paul Harris Award. We need to get the list of Rotarians who are interested to the district shortly so that they can go through the approval process. Plans for Rotary Club's joint raffle and a club cook-off are being discussed. With regards to the raffle, the RCOB is requesting a volunteer from each club to sit on the organizing committee for this raffle, and we need somebody to step forward by Friday, the 18th. So if anybody is interested, just let somebody on the board know. All right, that essentially covers the announcements, remarks for today. Back over to you, Rotarian Wayne.
Thank you, President Mike, for that update. And then just before we go into the Secretary's report, I saw a note in the chat, Rotarian Lynette Taylor from the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman. We want to welcome you to RCN's meeting. I see where you are having mic problems, but nonetheless, we wish you a warm welcome. And now moving straight on to our Secretary's report, notices and correspondence. Chantel, Rotarian Chantel.
Good afternoon again. I think I've missed a few updates, but I wanted to say thank you to all those persons who participated in the Rotary Day. The thank you may have happened already, but I wanted to make sure I said thank you. So we had a very good turnout. We had a very good participation from RCN. So thank you so much for making that a memorable weekend. I've seen a lot of the reports and the write-ups that came out, and RCN was, featured prominently. So thank you for that. Going forward, we are working on some projects and activities for the club. Once we have everything ironed out and time, date, place, we will be sure to share that with the club. So thank you again for continuing to volunteer and be there to assist, and look forward to continuing to work. And that's all I have for now.
Okay, good. Thanks so much, Secretary Chantel. And then moving on to the Treasurer's report. And before we get to the Treasurer's report, I failed to remember my PIN. Okay, so the PIN right there, you have the PIN, the Rotary Club PIN. And for those of you who do not have the PIN, our Secretary is going to come on. And she's going to talk about the dues and fines. So please raise your hand in the group so you can get your love envelope, okay? And so now we're going to turn it over to our Secretary, Rotarian Sandra.
Treasure. But I was waiting for that Wayne, Rotarian Wayne, to collect the PIN money. So great, I'll be available for those who want to just be honest and tell me you're not wearing your PIN. But today, I just want to focus on, there's 25% of our members that have not paid the residual part, so it's not so bad. You have paid, but just settlement of the residual amount, membership dues, just to make this week a dedication to contacting your treasurer, please, so that you can tell me the status or you can make payment arrangements so that we don't have any type of late fees being applied anyway, because I must remind you that the deadline has passed. So once we make a great effort to settle those fees, or at least payments on those that have been settling, also I'd like you to communicate so that I can make sure apply the amounts, because some of the amounts naturally are the same. So I need proof of payment so that I can apply it properly to your account. If you haven't seen any posting on your account, by all means, go verify with me again and make sure that it was applied properly, or if you have any inquiries in that regard. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you so that we can have all settled by this month, seeing that the deadline is long gone, and otherwise payment plan at least in place. And that ends the treasurer's report for today.
Sandra, you and Wayne should be fined for calling you secretary.
I almost.
Yeah.
Not quite. That's a $50 for me.
We don't deal in 50 cents.
That's the hypnotic effect of Wayne.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Secretary.
See, you did it again.
I mean, treasurer, jeepers creepers. I don't know what's going on. Treasurer.
I think I
Double
better
fine,
be on his
double
behalf.
fine. I feel a double fine coming. That's what I feel.
Double fine coming on. Reach out to me, treasurer. So I get double fine.
I mean.
Okay, that's a good one. And so, ladies and gentlemen, RCN, please help me welcome now, given the membership report, the ever exciting and effervescent Mr. Keno McCartney, Rotarian Keno. Take it away, sir.
Listen, it's always exciting when I come after the Treasury report. If you talk about money, let's talk about building the membership. That's how we grow in Rotary Club of Nassau. We grow organically by building and bringing new persons in. Listen, all those new members, those prospective members who are coming in, I'm very happy to see that Chantal is immediately getting you all involved with a project. I encourage you, if you're visiting with us, get involved right away. Get involved right away with the project so you could see exactly what being a part of Rotary Club of Nassau is all about and how we make a difference in the community. But listen, let's get right into our recognizing our birthday celebrants. We have, of course, in the month of March, PP Raquel. PP Raquel is celebrating March 18th. That's on Friday of this week. PP Raquel, don't forget, send us our cake. And also we have Rotarian Christopher. He's celebrating on March 18th also. So, hey, that's double cake for this week. So we want to wish you all a happy birthday, of course, for the month of March. And just before we bring up our song, I also want to wish a happy anniversary to Rotarian Melanie. 3 years she served as a Rotarian. Again, congratulations, March 15th. And Rotarian Rushan, 1 year for March 1. Rushan Rotarian Byron, 2 years, March 17th. And PP Sam, 19 years, celebrated March 21st. So we congratulate all those persons who are celebrating Rotary anniversaries. We thank you for serving. We ask you to continue to build our membership. And I'm going to set out a challenge for all of our Rotarians who have buddies. If you have not contacted your buddy in 7 days, I'm going to say this, you will get a fine. Actually, you know what? Let me say it for the next 7 days. If you do not contact your Rotary buddy in the next 7 days, please visit Rotarian Sandra Walker, and she will let you know what your fine is. Is that okay, Sandra? Can I say that, Sandra?
Go ahead. You know, I love collecting. I like to make people happy, the cheerful givers.
So I encourage you. Go ahead, Mr. President.
I say, I ain't gonna talk. I gotta talk to my buddy.
So you see, I'm being very merciful, very merciful. I didn't go for the past 7 days, so I'm giving you 7 days grace. You see how merciful I am as a membership. I'm giving you 7 days to contact your buddy, say hello, do something nice, especially for those persons who either had a birthday or celebrating the anniversary. Reach out to them in 7 days. Or next week, Tuesday, bring your fine. Oh, I just love you all. That's my love note for the day. Have a great day, everybody.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. How old am I now? My birthday, come again.
again?
Happy birthday.
All right.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Terry and Kino, for making it lively and exciting. And now moving forward, we're gonna have introduction of our guest speaker. We have a guest speaker on, and to do the honors for us will be none other than our Rotarian Sophia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Anton Austin entered the water and wastewater treatment industry in 1994. He currently serves as consultant of AWIA with the responsibility of managing the overall operation. As a water consultant, he provides consulting services and management for water treatment plants and wastewater treatment plants. He specializes in identifying distinctive solutions for the operations and maintenance on existing facilities or new facilities to reduce or minimize projected cost. Additionally, his responsibility comprises the operation, maintenance, as well as administration and project construction management. He has extensive training and hands-on experience in both water, wastewater treatment plants, and lift station infrastructures. He is married to Mrs. Kathleen Austin, nee Neely, and they have 2 children. Mr. Austin is an avid Junkanoo who has worked with a number of Junkanoo groups, including the Junior Junkanoo program in the South Andros district. He enjoys traveling throughout the Bahamas, visiting historical sites, and listening to folk tales specific to each community. Please welcome Mr. Anton Austin.
Good day, everyone. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
All good.
Good. Thank you very much. How you all doing today?
All good.
You're doing good.
Great.
Good. I've got 15 minutes to share with you a lot of information, but it's good to be in your presence today. I hope that's not me having the feedback. So one of the things that we hear me, because it seems to be I'm getting a feedback. So I'm kind of hesitant. Yeah. All right. But one of the joys that I've done, and one of the things that the Bahamas has afforded me, is the opportunity to expand a gift that I was presented in 1992, where I came back from working in Latin America, and I needed something to do, and I found a niche market in the water and wastewater business, and at that time I was employed by Aqua Design, and they then amalgamated and was bought out by Ionics, and then subsequently by General Electric, and then General Electric was bought by Suez Water, and I think now there is a next company that's taken over Suez Water. Now all of these are multinational companies, Ionics, General Electric, and Suez. National product is greater than that of the Bahamas, but they saw in the Bahamas a number of properties and facilities that they wanted to control the infrastructure into those places, and also your public, your utility company was able to buy into what they were selling, and they too are in partnership with at this present time, Suez Water.
You've been in, but you had been in, or you were just taking a photo from us?
Hello?
Carry on.
Yes, so what had happened was at that time happened. So now today, I'm probably going to share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm going to present to you. I've got a short time, so let me do this quickly. the point is this, water and wastewater are very essential to the well-being of the Bahamas and to the natural progression of our nation. Now, there have been number of instrumental decisions made by not only the government, but by the private sector to get into the water, the wastewater business, and to take over a large section of it. As you would know, and most of you would know, that 17% of the water produced here in New Providence is controlled by private entities. When I say 17%, I'm talking about these are franchises that control large swath of communities, and then they charge at a different rate on which is set by the government of the Bahamas. So for instance, if you live in the West and you're part of the section that's controlled by New Providence Development, you would probably be paying about $50 a 1,000 gallons, whereas the persons who are underneath the franchise that is controlled by the Water and Sewage Corporation would be only paying $17 per imperial gallon. Then there's a section on Paradise Island, which is owned by the Paradise Island Utilities. They control a section of all the water that is produced, but they do have an obligation to buy so much. And so they charge a rate similar, but so their water and wastewater is tied into one. So they automatically assume, and you can use this as a mark, that if you send someone 100 gallons of water, they automatically assume that 80% of that is coming back as wastewater. So your rate to them is not only $50 a 1,000 gallons for the water, but plus the rate for the sewer. Feeding your sewer also. So that's a kind of the instruments that are being used here in the Bahamas. And then you have the Grand Bahama Utility Company, which is owned by the port. And they are underneath a different dynamics. And they have a model that they utilize that is pretty good and is well managed and structured. And I think the rest of the Bahamas can use that. Now, I am no way bashing anyone or any entity when I say these words, but the qualified is they've got, they're producing about 9 million gallons of water. They've got about 30, the most 35 or 40 employees. And so their revenue stream is pretty great. Likewise, you have the Water and Sewage Corporation, who is producing in roughly about 26 to 30 million gallons of water. And they've got over 400 to 500 employees. So you can do the maths and find out the accounting on that later to find out if they are relevant in terms of their profitability. 9 to 10 million gallons of water and have 25 employees. And the next entity only producing 30 million. And that's over 400 employees. That's not cost effective. But again, the biggest thing about water in the country is that the government has kept the price of water down considerably, and they have not allowed it to rise. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see some of the things I want to share with you this morning, today. And these are simple things, and hopefully you will be blessed by what I'm sharing here. You can stop me if you have a question, or you can send me a question if you want to. This is your show, so you can tell me what you would like to see me do for you. This is the types of this. I put your logo on that. And now, potable water is not potable water. Now, that's a joke. I made a mistake once, and when I first came into business to write a report, and on the report was potable water, P-O-R-T-A-P-L-E. I became the laughing stock, if you would realize that. But potable water is not potable water. It's a different thing. Potable water is not potable water. Now, reverse osmosis water, which most of the water here in Nassau, presently now, most of the water in Grand Bahama, due to the Hurricane Dorian and the recent hurricanes, are being produced by reverse osmosis. So we call RO water, and not RO water. Now, I had a government official send me a report that says RO water before. I was very shocked, but I think I was able to speak to them and pull them aside and tell them, you know, that it's not RO. You don't shoot the water. It's RO water. And if official government information, and because you'll get a sanitation certificate for your waste osmosis treatment facility. And they had this on the title, sanctification certificate for RO water. And it was an amazing thing that you can see happen, again, because people don't seek information. Overview, the water resources in the Bahamas, history of the potable water treatment. You have different type of waste osmosis and wastewater treatment plants with different designs and implementation strategies. The goal is, you know, some common issues and solutions, demonstrate appropriate application of these technologies, provide opportunity to discuss each technology and how to incorporate each technology for local use. You can see here, there's a legislative framework that governs the water in the Bahamas. There's an act, and there are several legislative acts and government agencies responsible for the management and conservation of water resources. First, you have the Water and Sewage Corporation, and they are governed by the Water and Sewage Act 1976. And then there's the Water and Sewage Corporation. There's a sewage requirement for subdivisions and development. That's Exhibit B. And you would see that the recent case in reference to subdivisions and how they are addressed, in which you would see it in the newspaper. That aspect of it had to come up into that case in order to justify what is a subdivision, because the Water and Sewage has to determine what is a subdivision when they give you water and sewage, all right? Yeah, regulating water management in the Family Islands. Just for note, water in the Family Island at the highest tier is at $9.40. So when there's a new development in the Family Islands, most developers tend to take advantage of the government and saying, listen, based on your tier, it's $9.40. So you will go out there and get a reverse osmosis plant and like Suez and pay them $14 to $15, but we are only going to pay you $9.40. So the government is subsidizing water in most places where the developer itself is not providing water. And so that has to be addressed, but legislation has to address that. The Ministry of Health, the Health Act, and the Health Services Act that regulates and monitors, among other things, the supply of water to ensure public health and well-being are preserved. The Department of Environmental Health Services, specifically the Environmental Monitoring and Risk Assessment Laboratory attached to the DEHS, which has joint responsibility for monitoring water quality to meet World Health Organization drinking standard. Let me say this again. The water produced by the Water and Sewage Corporation is at its highest standard. It is the best water you can drink right now in the country. I know some of you live in your yard, say, but my water in my yard is good. But if I tell you what's in that water in your yard, the amount of pathogens in that water, you would not bother with that. Because not, if you live in New Providence, the ground in New Providence is saturated. When I say wastewater, meaning refuge and people just dumping indiscriminately. Also, there are some issues with wastewater treatment, disbursement, the effluent that they clean that is treated and how it's dumped in the ground. And if you would notice in some places where people have groundwater, they have these things on their skin and all that. And also too, you can also tell if the government is providing water to a person. You can also look at their teeth. Their teeth tends to reflect a lot of things about you. If you see people with these high reddish teeth or rusty teeth, means that because there's an ion of ferrous ion in the water. It's actually an ion bacteria. It's actually the dust from the Sahara that comes into the, it's kind of hard for me to explain all that process to you, but when the hurricane comes, it brings the dust from the Sahara and it dumps it onto this country. And that same dust infiltrates the ground, and then you yourself drink it out of the ground. You don't realize it, but you're consuming the dust from the Sahara Desert. All right, that red iron, that's why some of you get iron in your water and all that. That's just the dust from the Sahara that you're consuming. You don't even think about it because it's part of the geological makeup of the Bahamas, because we're not volcanic, we are coral, and coral absorbs a lot of stuff. And you can see here, I can go back here quickly, the Ministry of Works, the Building Control Act, the local government in the Family Islands, they control the water. The government itself controls the water through its joint venture with Water and Sewage, DHS, and Pan American Health Organization. Then you have the Best Commission, and they also input what you receive in reference to water in these islands. You know, the Bahamas Islands, there's 700 islands and keys, white sand. I had the opportunity to visit each island in this country. I've been to most places, some of you, wherever people are, I've been, I've set foot. I had a joy of being in every island. I enjoy the Bahamas. I don't enjoy the politics of the Bahamas, but I enjoy the Bahamas. I enjoy being fly fishing. I enjoy enjoying life at its fullest. And you can see the Bahamas is a low-lying carbonated platform islands with little topographic relief, meaning there's no real hill. Cat Island, and by the way, Cat Island is one of my favorite islands. Reason being, I'm not actually from South Andres, my wife is, but wherever she is from, I have to be from. Right? You know how that is, young fellas. If you're married, I've been married for 30 years, so I just simply assume that is where I'm from. But I like Cat Island. The reason I like Cat Island is because they stick with their culture. It's kind of hard to see people just move away from their culture. Then you have the lack of topographic means little surface water runoff, heavy reliance on fresh groundwater floating on deeper seawater augmented by desalination. Fresh water generally in cover 3 to 5 feet, and in Nassau you see they're destroying the pine fields, and so they're taking away the fresh water from out of Nassau slowly but surely. And it's happening, but you don't realize it, and you're going to be solely dependent on desalination. And they're actually doing that from an economic standpoint so that you could then eventually they'll raise the price of the water, and the private entities will then start charging you what is their rates for the water. And this is the basic map that shows you the mean annual rainfall here in the Bahamas and where it's the most. Down in the South Bahamas, if you go to the Southern Bahamas, like Nagua, Auckland, Maguana, even in Little Nagua, you'll see the vegetation becomes more drier. You'll see the more cactus plants. You'll see the more the vegetation change. It's not really scrub. Scrub is between Andros and the Crooked Island and all that. You'll see scrub in there. And also, too, if you had a chance to go to Long Key, you'll see special plants that only grow in these places. And then here is a map that shows you the freshwater lens and the oceanic islands here in the Bahamas. You can see the freshwater lens is relatively small. And by the way, all the islands in the Bahamas, they shape like like a mushroom. All right. So the same tidal plume you see at Paradise Island is the same tidal plume you see at the southern end of the island. It probably happens in 10 minutes, but if you put a geographical survey and put some blue dye in the water, that same dye will end up in South Beach within 20 minutes. It's amazing. These islands are not solid. These are coral islands, so water is just flowing through them. And so if you're dumping waste into the waste that you dump on Paradise Island is the same waste that you're going to pick up in the southern end of the island. And you can see the brackish water lens and then the fresh water lens and then sea level. And what augments and what helps the fresh water keeps it in place is the reefs. And the reefs are interconnected with your island development. And so reefs are very important. They play an important role in your fresh water here in the Bahamas. And this one you can see, by the way, I think I'm running out of time here. So let me just move on. This is just a maximum volume table. It tells you where the most fresh water is. It's in Andros, and Andros has the greatest capacity to provide fresh water for the country. And so that's what it is. Then we just talk about reverse osmosis. It's a simple process. It's like everything man makes and everything mankind develops or proceeds towards, he gets from the human body. He doesn't go no further than that. And he has to submit himself to what he sees in nature. And by your body normally, through osmosis, the osmotic process, When you drink water into your body, your kidneys, your livers, they filter out the water, and that's an osmotic process. What you're doing now is taking that same process and reversing it. And that's all reverse osmosis is doing. Instead of you comes out in your, I hope I can say this word, and I don't offend anyone, but when you urinate, that's a highly soluble water that has a lot of acid content. The pH in that tends to tell about your body. But what you're doing is reversing that back into your whole body system, and it's coming back out as water. That's all reverse osmosis is in a simple sense. And it's done through this membrane process here. And this process is in a vessel, all right? And because of time, if you can ask me these questions later. And this is a simple diagram, but in order for that reverse osmosis process, you need something to drive it. It's either going to be something that gives you pressure, and pressure is done from a high pressure pump or pump that supplies you with pressure. You see on this diagram here, there's a high pressure pump that forces this water through these membranes. And in that process, you separate the salt and the fresh water. The salt molecules are sent out as what they call brine. And that's a part of the market that as Bahamians we need to capture, because from brine, you get to make chlorine, or you can make the chlorine that and so your the seawater in the Bahamas has the second highest contents of salt. And so one of the industry we need to capture is the chlorine market. But we have not thought about it because we don't see ourselves doing it because of the cost for energy. And then this is a simple, the first diagram here, you can see that's just a little under the zinc unit, and it uses pressure to forces the water out. And then it passes through a little membrane, and that's a tap water solution that works pretty well. These are types of reverse osmosis systems. And you can see this is the first one here is an under the zinc unit. This is like a tap water unit or a smaller unit. This here is a 50,000 gallon unit. And this is the next one similar to that unit. All right. Now there are different types of reverse osmosis systems. You have the tap water system, which is your under the zinc unit. You have nanofiltration, ultrafiltration, brackish water, and then seawater systems. All right. That's it. Now the wastewater process that's happening in this country, you have what they call an SBR system, sequence batch removal system. I had the opportunity to install one of those. And then you have systems where you aerate the water, similar to what your body does, and then you allow the bacteria, because the bacteria in your intestines, they're alive and well, and they strip everything. So the similar thing they do in the wastewater. Now, one of the things about a wastewater plant, it should never smell. If you go to a wastewater plant and you see it smelling, that's not working. That means the people who are operating that don't know what they're doing. You have to go close to a wastewater plant to know that it is a wastewater plant. A wastewater plant never should smell, because if the bacteria are alive, the other thing that you need to know about wastewater plants, they have a system that I call an MBR system. It's a membrane bioreactor. They use the same membranes as you see here. They use the spiral wound thing, but the only thing is in sheets. They run the water through it. By the time you finish it, and most cities like in New York, some places in California, I think Las Vegas, they do a sheet type membrane where the water that you consume, because they can't take all the water from the Colorado River, and they can't take all the water from the rivers coming up from New York, because you know those rivers are polluted. They refurbish, or what they reject the wastewater into the ground, because people don't want to know that they're taking wastewater. So they inject it in the ground, and then they take it back up out of the ground, and they force it through these membranes, and then you're drinking the same water you just let out about 3 hours ago. Is that okay? Now that's end my thing right here. Any questions?
Well, certainly want to say, but Austin, what a beautiful and powerful presentation, man. Excellent. You needed at least 2, 3 hours, man. I'll be honest with you, because each section that you spoke of, could have been fleshed out a little bit more. And I'm quite sure.
Yeah.
yeah, that many of us, on the call would like to hear some more. But we have a parking lot session afterwards that we'll be able to go deeper and further and ask you some more questions. But just a quick question I want to, just as you was wrapping up, you saying that a wastewater plant isn't supposed to smell. Now, the question I have is, is that plant that the water and sewage has right there by the foot of the bridge, is that a wastewater plant?
No, that's not.
Oh.
No, that's not. That's not a wastewater plant. All this is a deep well injection. They are fooling you. Don't let them fool you with that. What happened there, and I'm not, I gotta be careful what I say here. Because I was a consultant for the government during the previous administration and for this government also. So they call me in when they have issues. That is just an injection place. And unfortunately, Bahamians go there and buy counter. Okay, that's just a deep well injection thing.
Yeah, but I mean, why does it always smell? I mean, they were smelling before, and now it's they smell it. They pump in millions of dollars to refurbish it or re-renovate it, and now it's still smelling. What's going on with that?
Because all it is a collection place for them to inject something. They're not doing any treatment there. When treatment is taking place, there's no smell. That what you are smelling actually is hydrogen sulfide, or what they call, not hydrogen sulfide, actually methane gas. Now, methane gas is one of the greatest things that we could, if we utilize it properly, we can use it for energy. They don't want to invest in an anaerobic situation there where you can trap that methane gas and then burn off it, and then we can use the waste heat to generate energy. No one wants to do that. The reason in this country, we don't do maintenance. Let's be honest, we don't do maintenance. I'm honest. And that's what's happening at that facility. The reason it's smelling is no one is doing maintenance there. And that's it. It's simple as I can tell you it. Let's be honest. There's no maintenance. You can see successive governments have never invested in nothing in reference to maintenance. We love to build, but never maintain. That's a sad and yeah. Behavior. And that's what I'm coming here and taking advantage of it. They see that all we have love is what we never like to maintain. We don't keep, we don't transfer things properly. And so I hope I didn't rampant. Sorry, my apologies.
Okay, any other questions? Any other questions? If not, we will reserve the remaining of the questions to the parking lot. Now coming to bring thanks to our speaker is none other than our Rotarian, Sophia.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Austin, for coming to speak to us today. It's certainly very informative. I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that it's a topic that I learned a lot about, the difference between types of water and the entities producing that water is certainly much more complex, the entire process, than I imagined. So it was a very educational session. Thank you so much for educating us on this topic. Thank you for coming to speak to us. Rotarian Wayne, back to you.
Okay, thanks so much, Rotarian Sophia. And now let's go into our four-way test. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be
beneficial to all concerned? And
will it be fun?
Will it be fun? Definitely, it will be fun as long as RCN has anything to do with it. Good. So we want to thank you so much. Thanks so much for the four-way test. And moving on, we will have Rotarian Ebony now, who's going to do the Rotary toast.
Good afternoon, everyone. Join me by raising your glasses. A toast to Rotary around the world.
Rotary around
the world.
And now I'll come to do the adjournment, be none other than our President Mike.
And I think
Okay.
President Michael may have had to leave to go to a meeting. So you have Secretary Chantel closing out today. Thank you again for attending today. We are focusing on water this month. So I'm glad we got to hear this information from our speaker. This is information that we can use, throughout the year, but thank you so much for that. Some things that we can look out for. I'm curious about the underwater RO, under sink RO unit, but we can talk about that in the parking lot. But thanks again for attending, and we may invite you back again, because as Rotarian Wayne says, there's so much more information that we could get from what you're presenting, but we'll be in touch. Definitely we'll be in touch sooner rather than later. Okay, but thanks again, and we will now move into our parking lot.
Okay, thank you very much, Rotarian Chantel. And yes, Mr. Antoine, this is our parking lot. And so we're in the parking lot, we're off record. And so, persons may want to ask some questions. But, most of us do have well water. I have well water at home. I haven't hooked up to the government supply yet because in many cases it's unreliable. And then when the hurricane comes, you don't have no water. So I'm still on my well. I haven't fully decided to move over, switch over to government waters yet. But tell me something. I heard you say that it isn't too healthy to use the well water, but I don't drink it. We use bottled water. What about brushing your teeth and so forth and bathing?
One of the problems one of the greatest things that we have here in this country is fluoride. We have a lot of carbon and fluoride in the water. And one of the disadvantages of too much fluoride is it erodes your teeth when it's over excessive. And sometimes you have to probably just check your water and see what's the fluoride level in the water. And if that is the case, then if it's over the recommended thing, I suggest you don't use it. All right? Because that's why the people on the islands, if folks are young like me, if you study them and you see them, you'll see that some of them had a lot of issues with it, not because of the lack of dentistry, because they took the water from not only the Rockaway, but they took the water from places that were hugely saturated with fluoride. Now, fluoride is good for the teeth now, but too much is not the best for your teeth. Now, some dentists will tell me differently, and I probably would like to hear them.
But could you treat it with using?
But it can, the word.
Okay, what if you treat your well with chlorine tablets? I used to do years ago, treat it with chlorine tablets.
It works for a while, but then you have to manage it when you do that, because number one, you tend to, not only when you treat it with that, you also tend to use your water for laundry purposes. Am I correct?
Yes, of course.
So that means you can need to monitor that, how that comes into your home, and how. Now, what you should do if you're using chlorine, there's something called a carbon filter.
Yes. Yes, filter.
You should buy, and that will dechlorinate the chlorine, take it to a place where it can be reasonable. It removes some of it because you still need chlorine to treat your system. And I would recommend that you go to a UE system, ultraviolet system. That's better, because what's happening with the bacteria in your house is they become immune to chlorine eventually. They see chlorine coming and all of a sudden they start shaking hands with it. But that's why every now and then when you shock treat it, you notice that whatever smell or anything happening in the system, it tends to go away, because you shock the bacteria realize, hey, not only one chlorine coming, but see, what gets your system and cleans it up is not the actual chlorine itself, but it's the free chlorine in the water. So the amount of free chlorine in the water is one that determines how well your water is. But again, if that's what you have, that's what you have. And you just need to determine what is best for your application, all right?
Okay, thanks very much, man. I think you convinced me to go to go
Yeah,
to the
Miss,
government system.
sorry, Mr. Austin.
It's just easier to go to water. Yes, go ahead. Go
Hi,
ahead.
Mr. Austin, it's Sheila Bethel. I'm
Yeah.
very curious about what you said about fluoride. They add fluoride to the water in Europe to prevent tooth decay. So you're
Yeah.
saying the complete opposite.
Yeah, because the Bahamas has a lot of fluoride. It's saturated with fluoride. You know, one of the participating things that we have in this country is not only, they talk about the raganitium. I'm not getting into that discussion. But one of the greatest things that we have here is we have huge deposit of fluoride, and it affects the way, because it's, anything that's you have overabundance of, it's sometimes not as good for you. While it will also eventually it reaches a threshold where it becomes more corrosive than anything.
Yeah, okay. So too much of a good thing.
Yes. It's a pretty again, because we have not thought of our natural resources as natural resources.
Okay. I've just got Chantel, by the way, Sheila still. I have an RO system. I have two actually.
Yeah.
One in my cottage and one under my kitchen sink. And I get all my drinking water from that. It's a RO system. Plus I have a UV light on it as well, so that, everything goes through. I've had it for several years and it's awesome. I recommend to anyone to get one of them.
Yeah, I was just curious to know. I mean, like, can anyone set it up? Do you need like some special?
No, it's very simple. No, it's very simple. You saw the picture that Mr. Austin posted.
Yes.
It's just I have a 3 filter system, and then a small tank, and then a light, and it's just you just attach it to the incoming water supply, and then it routes through, and then comes out. There's a separate little spigot that you get the water from that you just put on the top of the sink. I didn't have to have anybody special to do it. Oh, well, I mean, the guy that did it probably thinks he's special. But.
The thing about it, just want to answer is everything comes color coded, by the way. So it's a color coded thing. So they tell you what the red is for, the yellow is for, and the blue. These are tubes that comes with the unit. And so if you hook it up per the diagram they give you, because they give you a simple diagram. The simple schematic. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to do it, by the way. All right.
You don't even have to be extra special. So
no. Now all you the right tools and to do it right. All right. And I think that's what made him special, because he had the right tools. All right. Because I mean,
which I handed to him. Yes.
Yes. I don't expect. Okay, let me leave that. I think I stepped there on something. Let me leave that one. All right.
Where's the best place? Where's the best place to purchase or something like that?
Just go on Amazon and pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go on Amazon.
And what it's called?
Oh, the National Plumbing sells one around between 600 and 700. Then they have a high grade one if you want that one. But I mean, the key is
they're between on Amazon. They're between $300 and $400.
What's the correct name, Sheila? What's the correct name for it?
I'm just, if you put in a search in Amazon and say under sink RO system, you'll find it comes up there.
Okay.
I can send you a link. I actually sent it to somebody else.
Okay.
I'll put it in the club chat.
All right, good, thanks.
And then what it do to it, it will help reduce your, again, I work for a company called Bahama Blue. They love me. But the reason I work for them is because the gentleman there, he's a kind of perfectionist. I appreciate that. And so what it'll help you do too is reduce your dependency on having if you do it right, on bottled water. Okay? Because
I haven't bought bottled water for years.
Yes, and Sheila, because I buy about 5 bottles of water every week. I mean, is that good? Is it good? Better than bottled water?
Well,
Well,
yeah,
not yet,
it's fine.
but
I don't, the thing I don't like about the bottled
if you,
water is
whatever,
that it tastes of chlorine sometimes.
I buy Acupure.
Yeah, because what happens is sometimes when they clean the bottles, when they, they purify the bottles with chlorine, and sometimes they don't rinse them out properly, and so you get things that taste of chlorine. Yes, they do. I used to do all Aquapure's advertising, so I know exactly how it goes on there.
It's another food for thought for me. It's another food for thought. It's water is something else. But Anton, you were saying that the Water and Sewage Corporation provide the highest quality of water in the country. Is that including bottled water?
yes, they do. They do. And you must give them credit for that. That's one thing they're consistent with, is producing a quality of water. Now, have you ever heard anyone ever get sick from water and sewage water?
Yeah. It used to, out east here, the water and sewage water used to come out brown.
Oh, that was different. I'm talking now because all they're pumping into that system now is when they remember the road works, what they did was they upgraded all the pipelines. And so they're now pumping just reverse osmosis water through the line. So everyone now is getting that reverse osmosis water. That's it's like that water. That water is being bought by the government like at $5.50, and they're selling, you buying it at probably $17. So what you're doing here in the Nassau is subsidizing the rest of the family. All right.
Yeah, okay. Well, I haven't used water and sewage water for years. I have a well, and I've had it tested regularly. And I also have two 18,000-gallon rainwater tanks under the house.
Yeah.
So I use those filtered through as well.
All those things help. And again, one of the things that Dr. Richard Kemp, who one of the consultants, emphasized that they should never tell people move away from rainwater tanks, because that's the backup. You need to have some sort of backup.
Yep.
You need to have a rainwater tank.
Yeah.
You need to have a rainwater catchment somewhere. The old people used to have these barrels on the side of the house. But we have become so sophisticated, we don't want any barrels on the side of the house. Because we think there's a way to keep mosquitoes out of the house. And so we need to be able to see these things because if you go to the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, and I had an opportunity to be in the Eastern Caribbean for a while, people still do that. They still have water catchment. They still look for those things because those things help to buffer them during the times when things get short. That's a kind of resiliency that you have to build into your system. The Water and Sewage Corporation, I know they would not have a problem with you putting in some sort of catchment in that system.
So one time ago, we used to barge water from Andres. That isn't the case no more. Eh?
No, that's not the case anymore. And those people who used to run that now, they control MPTC. They bought MPTC. And so now they can, New Providence Development.
Oh.
So everything, the airport from now go back is supplied by them. You buy your water from them.
Even though you're paying water and sewage for it.
They own the franchise for that area.
Wow, never even knew.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, come on, you think they're gonna leave one entity and then you think they can go? If they're business people, they're smart. That's the way they work. Every water that goes into like the old Fort Bay, all of those gated communities around there, comes from them.
Okay. And what's that company name?
New Providence Development Company.
You don't know who the principals is?
just look at Bahamas Hot Mix and whoever the principals are in Bahamas Hot Mix,
Okay.
they are the
Say no more.
principals in there. Okay.
You know, I know. Wow.
They're not going to go far from the revenue stream.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. But yeah, man. Anyone else have any questions about Austin before we wrap up? 'Cause I could be questioning you all day because you know this impacted my life. Like I say, you know, when you talk about water. So now I got to really give some serious consideration between my well water and government water or remote osmosis. I got to really be considering.
I put that link, I put that Amazon link in the club chat, so.
Okay, good, beautiful. That's excellent, man. That's excellent. You have your contacts any place for Austin, so we could, you know, if we want to reach out to you privately.
Yeah, I'll give it to Mr. Stephen Dean. You reach out to me. I can just reach out to him. I don't do the card thing because most people they'll call you up for anything.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
It can be amazing. People call you, call you up, call you up.
Truly appreciate, man. We
Yeah,
truly
man.
appreciate it. Truly appreciate your presentation. Like I said, that's a 3-hour presentation, man. Really, basically, if you really want to get full knowledge of what's happening around.
Oh, it goes into details, and I can go. Yeah, it can be detailed, but also too again. I appreciate you people inviting me, and thank you again. I was humbled by the way. And so I just want to say thank you.
Good. Thanks so much. Anyway, well, I think we'll call it a wrap. Thank you so much, and thanks for everyone who remained on the call afterwards. Excellent, and like Chris Edwards says, very educational, eh?
Yes.
So you've taught us a lot. Good. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day,
Thank you.
everyone.
Okay,
Bye.
Yes.
Great presentation, Mr. Anton.